As I talk to business owners about raising money, one of the most common questions I'm asked is, how good of a chance do I have to raise money for my business, especially in today's economy? That's a great question. A lot of these business owners have found it more difficult to get bank loans. Others haven't yet figured out how to raise money from investors, and so they wonder, how good of a chance do I really have to get funded? I believe the answer to this question is very encouraging. I'd like to share with you the reasons for my pragmatic optimism. Let's start by taking a look at the kinds of things that are in the news. While there are indications that the U.S. economy may be stabilizing, many still question the underlying health of our economic system. On the stock market, the Dow currently hovers around 10,000 points, nearly 4,000 points below its high of October 2007. Some weeks end with gains of hundreds of points, and other weeks lose similar amounts. Major financial scandals have rocked the nation, accounting for tens of billions of dollars of investor losses. Though some of the perpetrators have been caught, one can't help but wonder how many other big money rip-off artists are still at large. The housing market continues to struggle. Average home prices were down another 12% in 2009. Industry experts believe the massive slide in home values is nearing an end, but that the market may remain soft for quite some time. And while home buying volume is inching up, a third of those homes were distressed properties, including foreclosures. Even after the federal government's $700 billion troubled asset relief program, bank loans are still relatively difficult to get. This is particularly vexing for small businesses, many of which have also seen their lines of credit evaporate as banks cut credit limits. In 2009, private equity funds raised 68% less capital than they did the previous year. The volume of venture capital and angel investor funding to business was also down in 2009 by approximately 30% from a year earlier. So, in this economy, what's the good news? The short answer is, even while all of these challenges were occurring, small businesses still received over $500 billion of funding in the United States in 2009. The key to benefiting from this good news is finding where the right type of funding for your business is most likely to come from, and then focusing your efforts on those sources. 52% of all small business funding still came from bank loans in 2009. This includes the SBA's flagship 7A loan, which accounted for just under 2% of the total. The next largest source of business capital was founder investment, which accounted for about 27% of all small business funding. Business owners who put more of their own money into their companies to keep them going know what founder investment is all about. Venture capital firms and angel investors together provided nearly 7% of all small business investment funding in 2009. The majority of this funding went to existing portfolio companies, with a small fraction of the total allocated to startups. The last category is the most difficult to identify and quantify, yet it accounted for about $70 billion of funding for small businesses last year, during difficult economic times. This money is referred to as informal investment capital, or what many call friends and family funding. So, where is funding for your business most likely to come from? Do you qualify for a loan of the size you need? And are you willing and able to pledge adequate collateral for it? If so, then you're good to go. If not, you'll need to look elsewhere for funding. Do you have the cash to fund the business yourself? If you do, you still may not want to shoulder all the financial risk alone. Banks and investors are still potential funding sources, and you'll be able to approach them from a position of financial strength that can make your deal much more attractive. While there are important differences between venture capitalists and angel investors, there are also a growing number of similarities. If you have a highly scalable company that could do more than $30 million in revenue within the next few years, you could be a candidate for angel investor group funding, leading to eventual venture capital funding. Angel investor groups have formed across the country and are very easy to find. But of the nearly 50,000 angel investments made in 2009, angel groups made less than 3,000 of them. Solo angels invested in the rest. There are several 100,000 active solo angels across the country. They're not as easy to find as angel groups because they don't advertise. You find them by networking. Because Solo Angels provide more than 90% of all angel investment capital in the U.S., it can be very worthwhile to find them. If all of these sources don't provide the capital you need, informal investors may represent your best chance to get funded. You may have well-heeled relatives who are willing to help finance your company. You can usually find out quickly if they'll be helping or not. And then there are friends and associates, both those you have now and those you may have in the future. Your ability to network and establish meaningful relationships with successful business people can become a major factor in your capitalization success. For most business owners looking for investment capital as opposed to loans, the best sources to approach are solo angel investors and informal investors. Taken together, these two groups invested about $87 billion in small companies in 2009. That would represent an average investment of $174,000 in all 600,000 new businesses with employees that opened in 2009. While much of the actual investment was made into existing small businesses, the numbers still support the tremendous opportunity available for both new and existing small businesses to get funded by solo angels and informal investors. In this brief overview, I hope you've been able to gain a little more perspective on current small business funding in the United States, and that you feel an interest to learn more about it. I feel a pragmatic optimism about the potential of viable businesses to get funded, based in large measure on what my clients have been able to accomplish during these difficult economic times. So I invite you to visit our website to learn more about where the money is and what you need to do to get it. It just might be the start of a great new relationship. Thanks for watching.